time to make the tomato sauce. And I make my tomato sauce from scratch using canned tomato sauce and diced canned tomatoes. We start off with, I don't know, 3 to 4 good cloves of garlic. You need one 29-ounce can of tomato sauce, right there. And you need 1 can of diced tomatoes in juice. Make sure it's in juice, it's not in tomato puree or anything like that. But then you need 1 medium onion, just like that, and some fresh herbs, which I picked from my garden just a few minutes ago. Also, you'll need some extra virgin olive oil. The other hardware you'll need will be a nice sharp knife, like right here. Then you also need a good sturdy pan. I like to use stainless steel when I make tomato sauce, because if you use any other type of metal, the acid from the tomato sauce can stain your pan for one, or transfer the flavor of the metal into your sauce. So it's always good if you can afford stainless steel heavy-duty pots. That's the best thing to use. Okay, so let's get going. So as I'm dicing my onions and my garlic, I'm going to put my pan on. Turn your fire or your thermostat, whichever burner you're using, on just right below medium, not too far. But what we're going to do here is sweat this onion and garlic out, so we don't you don't want any color. You see recipes where it says translucent. Cook your onions till they're translucent. Well, you want to do that just below medium so they don't burn. What that means is you don't want the sugars in the onions to caramelize, and that'll totally give you a different flavor for your sauce. So here we go. I'm going to start with our onions first. Cut both ends off, and again look for the flat side, just like that. We're going to go start dicing our onion next. So I always look for the root end. So this would be the root end right here. This would be the bulb end. So the onion, as it grew, would be growing like that. So starting with your bulb end, your root end away from you, you're going to start dicing your onion. So now we're going for our dice. Perfecto. Next is the garlic. And you see here I peeled these garlic. They have the little stem on them. That one doesn't, but this one does. I like to cut those stems off. See, it's right there. I don't like to eat those. So I cut them up just like that. And then boom. So instead of going and chopping like this, I hate doing that because you can never get it pieces. So I'll show you what I found over the years to be the best way to mince garlic in your house. Just take the side of your knife just like that, lay it on top of the clove, and bam, beat it. Just like that. Boom. Now, just take your knife, go right through it a couple times, and you're good to go. That's nice minced garlic here. Boom, just like that. So here we go. Here's our pan. It's on just right below medium. I'm going to put some olive oil in there. Don't worry, you can never not put enough olive oil in. I want to start with my onions first. Here are my onions. So now I'm going to put that into here. You hear the sizzle. Boom. So our onions have begun to sweat, or what we're going to do when you hear translucent. Okay, got my little spoon, and I'm going to add some salt. This is the secret ingredient to cooking right here. And what I'm going to do next will be my herbs. So I like rosemary and I like thyme. So my thyme here looks a little mangy. You can see it's not full. One of the spaghetti squash plants overtook my thyme this year, and my thyme didn't get the sun. However, my rosemary did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these leaves in I'm going to put this thyme in just like that when the sauce begins to boil. The leaves will cook off the stems, and we'll be able just to pull the stems out as we see them. The rosemary, on the other hand, I am going to put a little chop on. So what I like to do is pick the rosemary off the stems. I am going to put this stem of rosemary in the sauce because it will give the sauce flavor as well. I'll just remove it before I put it into the casserole, spaghetti squash casserole. So, as you can see here, I'm getting a chop on it. Alright, here we go. We've got our herbs ready to go. Now I'm going to give my onions a stir. And they're going to go for probably, I don't know, 3 to 4 minutes longer. So as you can tell here, the onions are becoming translucent. And if you want to try an onion, go ahead and try one. It's not going to taste like a raw onion, for one. And two, it'll be a lot softer. So now is the time to add the garlic. Okay, and at this time again, I'm going to add some more of that secret ingredient called salt. Alright, so I'm going to let that go for a few more minutes. So in the meantime, I have gone ahead and opened my tomato sauce and my diced tomatoes, so at the perfect time I'm going to add those two ingredients and bring this mixture to a boil. So let me tell you a little secret to the sauce. So when you add these two cans in there into your pot with the onions and the garlic, fill these cans up halfway, 3/4 of a way with cold water and swish it around so you can get everything out of the can. Pour it all back into your sauce, to your pot with the sauce. Bring it to a boil and you'll let it simmer. The longer this sauce simmers, I'm telling you right now, the better it's going to be. You're going to love it because all those flavors marry. Okay, and you're going to put those herbs in there, and let me tell you, the kids love this sauce. It'll be the hit of the party. Okay, you can see the sauce is up to a boil now, and now we're going to add those stems of herbs and that rosemary. Some people say, oh, you know, the rosemary will cook out as the flavor will cook out as you cook it. Yeah, that's true, but you know what? This sauce tastes really good after it simmers for all that time. Now, what I'm going to do is place it on this burner, which is, I'm going to turn that down to low. As you can tell, I'm getting a lot of steam off there. But this is a sauce you start middle of the afternoon, and once it gets down to simmer, you just have to kind of forget it. Now don't forget to add some of our secret ingredient here called salt. And at this point I will give a few cracks of few grinds off the pepper mill here. As you can see, I got my little fancy pepper mill, my Peugeot, and we'll put some pepper in there and let that go for as long as we can. Now, if your sauce gets too thick, always add a little water. That's all you got to do. Well, as y'all can see, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Give me 1 second. As you can see, when I cook around the house, it's about family. And you just heard my son asking for me. So I'm going to kind of zip through this pretty quick so we don't have a meltdown. So there's my sauce. It's simmering quite nicely. Stir it occasionally, you know, just make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom. If you start to feel stuff sticking, then what you want to do is just add a little liquid. That means it got a little thick. But as you can see, the bubbles coming up, steam, looks great. So as you can tell, my sauce is reduced. As chef terms, that it went down. So you can see the residue on the side of the pan here. That's probably at least 2/3 of what the sauce is. And let me tell you, this sauce right here is lip smacking good. So you just follow that recipe, let it simmer for at least 3-4 hours, and this is what you're going to get.